What's going on, everybody? It's David Pietek and Dwayne. I got a video for that. Kimball in the house. Welcome to 2025. I'm hoping everybody is sticking to their New Year's resolution, or have you already forgotten about it?
I know, right? That's crazy. Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, this is our the first live stream for 2025.
Yeah.
Almost a year anniversary coming up on that 12-hour live stream, right?
Oh man, which we have to do another one. Hopefully in the next like month or two, kind of do a longer format one. So that should be pretty exciting on that.
Ooh.
I know there's been already a lot of changes coming up in 25 with benefits. A lot of people getting worried about their VA home loan aspects. So why don't you kick it off, Dwayne? What's going on in the VA disability space right now?
So I think the biggest thing is um, the government passed, and I can't think of the name of the act that they passed, but it was December. It was last month, and basically what it does, it gives the VA secretary the ability to remove the public DBQs, disability benefit questionnaires, from the VA's website. I was on vacation last week and I told my office manager, I'm like, hey, go to this link every single day, twice a day, as soon as you log in, before you log out, and see if it looks like this. I took a screenshot and let me know if it's no longer there. So when I came back off vacation, the DBQ's there. So a lot of people were thinking, oh, they removed the DBQs. They removed, and I think when I did my live stream before I went on vacation, people were talking about it. And then I did a video on it, right? They're still there. It just means that they're giving the power to the VA secretary to remove them if they deem private providers cannot clinically complete them, which is weird because think about this. You have a private psychiatrist and a psychiatrist with the VA.
Yeah.
Both were board certified, got licensed, got their degrees, and can diagnose people per the DSM-5. There's one form, the DBQ. Why can't they complete it? If they know how to complete it. It's not everybody can complete it. You have to have some level of training, obviously. But let's just say both the private doctor and because some private examiners, right, they used to work as a third-party contractor. They got trained by the VA. So now they have the same education as it pertains to completing DBQs as a third-party VA contractor. So I think personally it's just another way to make it hard for veterans to get their benefits because a lot of veterans like me, even as a retired VA rater, when I rated, I was like, I'm never going to another VA CMP exam. I don't trust them. They lie and they're getting away with it. I'm going to go to someone that's going to look at everything and make a decision. Yep, right. You have this. This is the diagnosis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whether I pay for it or do a copay. I got lucky. All my doctors like, hey, just pay this copay. But a lot of them, they charge a higher fee. But in the long run, you look at what the benefits you get over time. So that's the biggest thing. And then going to get a new VA secretary as of January 20th. I did some research on him. He is I think a colonel or full-bird colonel, lieutenant colonel in the Reserve or National Guard or something like that. But we don't know any other changes than that, that law that's passed, then the bill that passed is now law, and a new secretary. We don't know what other changes they're going to get. People ask me all the time, well, what are they going to do? And I'm like, man, if I knew that, I could give you the Powerball numbers.
Right?
So we just got to wait and see. And when I find out, I'm going to let everybody out there on YouTube land know of that updating change. But with that being said, what's going on with VA home loans? Well, question. Have you seen when there's a new VA secretary that comes on board, have you seen it impact the VA home loan standpoint from the VA side?
I'll tell you what I have noticed is that VA benefits seem like it's getting harder and harder, and VA home loans seems like it's getting better and better. I think it's just like that's what I've noticed as kind of the trend, to be honest. As far as the secretary coming in, like unless they're making major changes to the program, which I don't really foresee, right? I think this year they're going to take that temporary uh, rule exemption for the paying real estate agents and actually update that as a final policy. I think that's very, positive in the sense of like it opens it up for veterans to be able to purchase property, especially with this lawsuit that's still kind of like there in the background. And don't forget, guys, if you have questions about VA disability, VA home loans, drop them down in the comment section. We're going to be answering questions here in a little bit. But there was a major change that just happened last week that I think a lot of veterans could relate to. It's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau came out last week and said that medical collections will no longer appear on credit reports.
Oh, okay.
So and I speak with a lot of veterans, and you think like, well, if you're a veteran, why do you have medical bills? Well, a couple things happen. One, a lot of times veterans don't trust the VA, right? Going to the VA hospital. So they may go out and get care outside the VA and they may incur bills. You have also veterans that have been fighting to get their VA disability maybe for a couple years, but they've had to see doctors in between that. And also just life events and emergencies have come up. But those collections hinder people from becoming homeowners primarily because when they have these collections, one, it drops their credit score, so you don't get as favorable financing terms. And honestly, Dwayne, a lot of times with these medical collections, you'll see somebody with great credit history, but just has a medical collection or 4, 5, or several that hinder them from becoming homeowners. So what they say is that about 22,000 more people every year are going to be able to become homeowners because of this rule change. Now, it's going to go into effect in about early March, so just be on the lookout for it. It doesn't eliminate medical debt, right? Like you still have the debt. It's just not on your credit report, which is a positive. At least it's moving forward, I would say, in that sense. And it's estimated to clear about $49 billion worth of medical collections on people's credit reports.
Now, with that being said, do you think, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer this question, but do you think it'll have an impact on anything else? Like you said, the VA home loan process is getting a little bit better. VA compensation process is not getting better.
That's what it seems like.
Right. So, now that's going to open up a lot of people for home ownership. Do you think like the VA compensation, let's stick this other piece in there to make it a little bit harder since we're taking this piece out that's going to make it a little bit easier?
Yeah, I got you.
I know there's probably something you can't answer, but that's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Because the federal government is actually going to, hey, let's do something that is going to create another $500,000 homes being built. Out here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. But before we go any further there, I'll just like to say thoughts and prayers out to all the families and individuals out in LA and California that lost their homes. I know here in Florida, we just had a catastrophic event, not as big as that wildfire, where I know people personally that during Hurricane Milton, 2 hurricanes back to back in less than 2 weeks. I mean, people were emailing me like, we lost everything. So my prayers out, out to, we like to say prayers out to the families. And because I heard some people, hate to get off topic, didn't have homeowners insurance on their home because they couldn't afford it. And I'm like, man, a lot of movie stars, but that's probably like their second home or something. But, someone like you and I, we just got one home and, so I just want to say that. Sorry.
No, for sure. No, it's definitely. I mean, like, look, my dad was in North Carolina when
Yep.
when the flooding, and same thing. Like, they lost everything they had there, and they're just like, oh well, good luck. Here's a slap on the back, $700 that you might
And
have to pay back later. So, yeah, definitely. I know there's a lot of. I believe they're trying to find resources for those individuals through the government to see if they can give any additional aid. But we'll see.
but I think that FEMA, man, is a joke because when the hurricanes come through here
Um,
and you listen to the local news and they're interviewing people and they're like, "Where's FEMA?" And
yeah,
then they were like, "Oh, apply." And then FEMA was turning around and denying people
I know.
that had actual that food was not destroyed, but due to lack of power. So people didn't have power for like 12, 24 hours, 3, 4 days, had to go in a hotel
Yeah.
and lost all their food. And they're like, hey, can I get $500 to replenish part of my food? And they were like, no, But
Yeah.
all right, I got off on track. And just
No,
wanted
you're
to,
good. This is why it's important to have back power generators.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but to answer your question, like, what other impacts does it have? I mean, the overall significance of not having those collections for a lot of people, since it might be the only derogatory credit they have, is going to improve their overall finances because, like I always say, it's that when you don't need money, people want to give you money. When you need it,
right,
no one's there to give it to you. So this, by creating and freeing up your credit score to make it higher, you now can access more capital at a much cheaper rate, right? So for people that want to be entrepreneurs, people, right? Because you need good credit to do that, right? You don't want to borrow at 30% interest rates. You want to take out a 0% loan for, you know, um, for 20 grand to start a bit. That sounds much better, right? Getting access to money is a beautiful thing. But control a credit is the main thing that basically stops people from doing that.
right, right. I definitely agree. I mean, when I first started, people, go in the bank and I'm like, yeah, you get a business credit card. Yeah, they're going to pull that personal credit report, no doubt.
Yep, I just had that happen. And I'm just like, again, with good credit, you have access to 0% loans. There's a lot of things that go into that. So just want to get some shout outs from folks that are on say from Reese. Happy New Year, guys. Blessings. Thank you for watching. He's one of the guys that also has been watching you and going through the process. So
Okay.
thank you for that. So yeah, I guess I'll answer a couple of things and then we'll kind of like jump in between some of the like most recent topics, if that's good with you, Dwayne.
Yeah, sure. Yep, it was good.
Yeah,
It was
so
good.
somebody mentioned on here, I decided not to pursue my VA home loan for National Guard service requirements. I don't want to open up any kind of can of worms. So what I'm assuming is that somebody has a VA service-connected disability, but they don't qualify for the VA home loan, which Dwayne, ironically, not ironically, I think it's crazy that this happens. So lately, I've been talking to more people that have 100% disability ratings, but do not qualify for the VA home loan. And the reason behind it is because they don't meet the character of service and the time in service to be able to use it. And this applies both to active duty individuals and Guard and Reserve members. So I'll kind of highlight what happens here for people that are like, how is that even possible? Or I'm sure you're going to come across someone that this has happened to. So normally when somebody is getting, if you don't have active duty service of 24 months, like if you're on active duty or more, then you don't get to use the VA home loan, right? You may do, let's say, 23 months of service. You're a month shy. You get out because of whatever reason. Like, let's say you're going through the medical discharge process, but you're like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I just want a general discharge. And unfortunately, that happens more often than not, Dwayne. And then you get your disability rating, but you don't qualify for the VA home loan. Same thing with Guard and Reservists. We see people at 100% disability ratings, but they don't meet the time and criteria. And just as a FYI, you don't open up a can of worms when it comes to like looking at like someone looking at your service record, right? So you typically just submit a DD 214 or like your retirement point statement, and then they could take a look at that. So I mean, I don't know,
So
Dwayne, you come across people that like have not some benefits, but not all their benefits because of that.
yeah, I've heard people, one individual, a couple, I think in Georgia, Atlanta, where they were saying, they were battling getting a higher service connection percentage for the compensation. And they were like, hey, and we can't use our VA home loan because of some type of character discharge. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, well, you got to get that upgraded. And they were working on getting that upgraded and then, getting an increase in the compensation. So they won the compensation. They got up to, I think they said 100%. That's where they felt the veteran should have been. But then they were still battling that character discharge piece that they
Yeah.
said that, and it wasn't a dishonorable, it was like one of those that could bar you for compensation. So they were able to get that changed. But long story short, they got the 100% where they felt they should be, and they were able to get that disability discharge discharge upgrade. And so then they were able to get the VA home loan. But you're talking, man, I think I had a couple conversations with them over like 18-month, 24-month period. So you can
Wow.
imagine the stress. They're battling both sides, not just one. But they stuck with it though.
That's all it is. I think patience is the 2025 theme. It's like you definitely need it when it comes to that. Now, Dwayne, is there such thing? And I don't know if we talked about this, but like let's say you get out of service and you go through you didn't do the VA disability process through the service. So let's say you did, or you got out of the service and filed for disability and you got 100% permanent in total, or you're getting out of the service and it's you're going to be assigned 100% permanent in total. If you get a regular discharge, can you upgrade that to a medical discharge because of that?
Because you're getting out on a medical.
No, like you're getting a regular honorable discharge, but you're within your last 6 months of
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the rule is like you got to do it within 10 years. And it's really hard to do.
Is it?
It is, yeah. It's really hard to do. Um, I tried to do it and I'm still battling with them on that. And you know what they did? They turned around and said, oh, but you got a good conduct medal. So what they did, they gave me, I didn't even ask for it. And I couldn't ask for it. They gave me a good conduct medal for my time in the United States Army Reserve. Now, I only served in the Missouri Army National Guard and on active duty. I never served in the reserves. So they gave me a fraudulent, I would say, medal just to deny it.
Wow.
I get these medals and I'm like, what is this? And so now I got to go through the process of like, okay, I got to update that DD 214 to revoke those medals because I never was in the reserves. Never.
That's insane.
Yeah. And they put it on paper. I got proof.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just hadn't had the time to deal with it. But those decisions, man, you're probably looking at anywhere between 18 to 36 months.
Wow. Well, hopefully you don't have a busy job or life, kids, and everything else that goes in between that.
Well, I got the letter last March.
That's yeah.
Hey, I'm looking at it right now.
You know what I
on my
missed,
desk.
Wayne? I missed that like the huge stack of the VA disability stuff that was in your back.
It's still
So, yeah.
it's still back there. It's
Oh,
behind
is
my
it?
plaque. Yeah, it's behind my. It's holding up my plaque.
That's awesome. That's awesome, though. All right, let's go on to the next one. I have a VA home loan with an outstanding rate. Congratulations. I'd love to move to a RAND style instead of a buy level. I would like to get some. I would like to get the same interest rate. Any advice? So that's a good question. Now, in theory, and actually in reality, you can get really low interest rates, and that's because you can assume someone else's VA home loan. I don't know if you guys have heard that about government loans. So VA loans, FHA loans and USDA loans are all assumable. So let's say Dwayne is selling his house. I'm going to use an example for $500,000, and he's got a mortgage balance of $400,000 at 2% interest rate. Okay. I am a veteran and I want to come in and I want to assume I want to buy Dwayne's house, but I want to assume his $400,000 mortgage. What that basically means is that I would have to give him $100,000 in cash at closing. I would then apply through his servicer to be able to get like basically swap entitlement. So I put my benefits onto Dwayne's property, and then I would take over that, and then I'd free up Dwayne's benefits to use his VA loan again. So that's the way you'd be able to do it. So there's a lot of there's a couple companies that exist that kind of basically scout all those listings that are assumable loans, and then you're able to reach out to them and see if you could assume it. I think it's a great option to get those really low interest rates. What stops most people is normally you need like at least $200,000 in cash. So, but what I'm seeing a crazy trend that I didn't think would exist, Dwayne, is that, VA benefits for VA loans is something you can lose and not get back. Okay. Mm-hmm. You normally lose benefits when you go into a foreclosure and you don't pay that money back. But you always have the option of paying the government back what you owe them to give them your benefits back.
Okay.
When it comes to this, I see a lot of veterans leaving their VA home loans behind. So even though I'm a veteran, but let's say you're selling your house just like the same example, $500,000, $400,000 balance, 2% rate. I come to you and say, Dwayne, I want to assume your VA loan, but I want to assume it as an investment property. Would you leave your benefits behind? And we're having, surprisingly, a lot of people say yes. They're like, I'll leave my benefits behind in the property because you have to remember, majority of the 20-some million veterans are older. Okay. So a lot of times they're like, I don't need my VA benefits. I'm just going to cash out of this, and I'm going to go wherever they're going. So it's been shockingly surprising, like how many people have just left their benefits behind. So there's also the investment piece for veterans to go in and assume other veterans' VA loans, maybe get together with some buddies, maybe tap into a 401k or stock accounts and buy some investment properties that then you could turn on and rent them at a good margin. So I'll be doing a bunch of videos in the next couple of months surrounding all around investing with VA home loan stuff. So that's a great question. That was really long-winded, but hopefully that answers the question. Saying hi from Puerto Rico. Yeah, we've had a lot of people reach out from Puerto Rico, so that's awesome.
Okay.
We have someone. Good evening, all from the DMV. What's going on? I'm actually going to be there in a couple weeks. KMD and 89. What's going on?
Yeah.
Sounds good evening, prayers and donations. Wouldn't it be Grady? Yep.
And Grace, I'm still snitching, Grace. Grace say, are you going to be snitching, Dwayne?
That's funny. Insurance companies dropped some homeowners several weeks ago. Yeah, so you're talking about the insurance companies dropping people. But I mean, it's kind of crazy in a lot of areas. I know, Dwayne, by you guys, and actually, you know what? Let's talk about this because when you have a house, your mortgage payments still can go up. And two things drive that. And it's about right now where you're going to start seeing changes. Homeowners insurance policies typically go up every year. I don't know if mine have ever gone down. Dwayne, has yours ever gone down?
No.
And taxes too. Have your taxes just like magically gone down by themselves? No. They always seem to be going up.
Oh, right.
So that's something to keep in mind, and make sure that you're tracking your homeowners insurance. Just because it's escrow doesn't mean like it's just, it's automatically taken care of for you. But all those increases, if you're not budgeting correctly, or you are budgeting, but you don't factor this increase, sometimes it's small. Sometimes I've seen it go up 10 grand in a year. Okay. Because they do reassessments. especially if you're in an area where the value has climbed a lot, then you might be looking at just having a lot of those, just those additional costs that are associated with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody taxes or homeowners insurance went down. I'm pretty sure if you moved, but the question is in your current home,
Yeah, in your current home.
as it went down,
Yeah.
not, moving to dump truck county, Alabama, and, you got a shotgun house. Yeah, it's definitely going to, go down.
Yeah. And that's the thing with that. Well, insurance can go down because that's something you can shop for, right? So if you can shop for it, then yeah, it can go down. But like if you don't, like I think my dad was doing that. Like they gave him some ridiculous reassessment to say, oh, your insurance went up like $1,500 a year. So he called around and was able to get a better rate than his prior premium. You can't do that with taxes unless you're willing to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so. So kind of keep that in mind as you go through that. Every sports ticket purchase added 100 just for relief. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Is a V loan good to apply for? So, Andre, 100%. I think it's one of the best loan options that are out there, right? And I know we talked about a lot of Dwayne. I mean, Dwayne used the VA loan. I've used the VA loan. I think there's stigma around the program itself that exists within the real estate and lending space. And like, no joke, like every week I'll talk to someone where they're like, oh, they told me not to use my VA benefits because they weren't good. And that's because they don't know how to use, or like they don't know how to process them, or they don't have much experience with it. And I tell you, I definitely understand that, because when I talk to other lenders about how to do it, they're like, they'll say like, oh no, you're wrong. And I'm like, this is from the VA handbook. It's like, Dwayne, that's a Raider. Suddenly you coming to you, say, Dwayne, let me show you how to do your job. You're gonna be like, please.
And I get that. They're like, oh, you're not accredited, so you don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I just had, and I'll give you guys a good example. I had someone recently reach out to me. I wasn't able to help them directly because the program that they were going through, we just didn't offer it. Okay. But this revolved around a VA condo approval. So they reached out and said, David, hey, I watched your video. I need your help. This is what I'm doing, and this is the situation. So I walked him through how to have his lender do it. And the lender's like, no, we can't do that. So the client had to call the VA. The VA confirmed what I said. Then the lender submitted it the first way. And then I said, oh, listen, by the way, the next thing they need to do in order for you to close on time is they need to submit a support ticket. So I'm going to tell you the difference. If you do a support ticket for a request, it takes a couple days versus you waiting in queue takes a month.
So support ticket to the VA?
Or to the VA. They're actually really good with it on the regional loan center side. So, and again, they're like, no, we won't do that because we already submitted it. And I'm just like, man, like this is where veterans don't, like, it goes both VA disability compensation and VA home loan. Like you really need to work with a professional that knows what they're doing. Like this isn't a hobby for them, or they do one or two. It's like if you do this every day, then you're going to have a good understanding of that process and then walk people through it. So I thought I'd share that because VA loan is phenomenal. So many benefits. And that's what I do on the channel. Just talk about how you can leverage your VA home loan and all the awesome things that come with it.
So do you have a video on that process, or when you're saying you submit about, what is a support ticket and when you should submit one?
No. And we don't do that video because it's our secret juju.
Okay. All right.
But there's like so many steps that go with it. And especially with like the condo piece for a lot of veterans, it's affordable housing, right? Like you go to a major city, where homes cost $1.5 million plus, you can find a condo for $500,000, which is still expensive. Don't get me wrong, but in many areas, it's definitely a more affordable. Okay. So talking about the California wildfires, not only are they also, yeah. But you see that in a lot of these areas where it's like North Carolina, where they just like stopped paying their insurance because it was too expensive. And you think California, like everybody's a millionaire. That's what I think when I see their commercials, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's just not the reality of everyone's situation. I think this might be for you. Oh,
It's
your
not
emergency
someone's
and not
urgency.
someone else's urgency.
No compassion. Yeah.
I get it. This is a good one. What's a decent credit score? So it's going to be really going to depend on what you're applying for. And why I say that is that, and I'm sure you guys are referring to VA home loans, but I want you guys to understand something. There's hundreds of different credit scoring models that exist depending on what you want to do. If you want to get a car loan, the credit score is different. If you get a car insurance, the credit score is different. If you want a boat loan, the insurance is like the credit score is different. It varies based on the product and what you're trying to do. In general, the higher your score, the better financing terms you have. I would say this is kind of like a middle of the road. Typically 620 or higher on VA home loans, you're using you have a good chance of using the benefit. If you're below that, listen, people can get VA home loans with 500 credit score, but it's going to depend on your financial picture. The easiest thing to do is schedule a call with me and I can walk you through that process, right? That's what we're here to do.
What is the highest credit score you can get? 850?
850. I've never seen someone with an 850. Like you just trying to show off if you got like over 800.
I was close when I bought my house. I was close to that. I wanted to make darn sure that I had the best interest rate. Yeah.
And really, like anything over 640 is the same. Okay. So just kind of for a credit perspective pretty much across the board on anything, 740 or higher.
Yep.
There's no like additional tiers of plus like getting better rates.
Yeah.
And so what I mean by that is like if you had a 700 versus a 740, you're going to have a different interest rate. That's what we're always saying, that the better your credit score, the better your chances are of getting the best possible debt for that. So next one is how can you get the bad report taken off? So it depends. You can go to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, and you can dispute things on your credit report. Now, I want you guys to be aware of something when you dispute these things. One, it's better to do it by mail. I don't recommend doing it electronically. They will give you that option.
Certified, right?
Yeah.
Certified return receipt, because they got 30 days, if I'm not mistaken.
They got 30 days. So you probably want to send it snail mail. You want to send it where no one could track it and be like, hey, I submitted it. Here's my proof. And then they basically have to fight that, right? But yeah, just be aware that when you do submit that, you're gonna have to wait for it to come up. It has to go through a dispute process. And if you have proof that this wasn't your debt, then you want to provide that proof to the company. That makes it way easier for them to be able to justify that. So, but that is definitely a good question. And somebody, thank you, donated $5 for answering the question. So thank you for that. Somebody asked, I am 100% permanent total. Can I use the VA loan for home renovations? All right. Let's go through. I mean, I'm going to do a whole video on home renovations in a little bit, but let me walk through how basically the program works. So when it comes to using the VA home loan, you can use it to purchase a property and do a renovation to the property. And other times people will also allow you to do a refinance to your property for the renovations. So when you go through that process, you typically have to get those renovations completed. Just kind of show it one more time. You have to typically get those repairs completed within a 4-month process. The other thing is that rates are typically going to be higher, and you typically don't need to get a HUD consultant, meaning like the government's going to step in to help you through that process. Pros and cons to not doing that, because it really depends on you And you really have to have a contractor that knows how to submit these bid proposals so you're not short. I've just, I am not the biggest fan per se of them because they limit what you can do. Okay. You can, well, if you have good credit and you can get access to credit, and let's say you need $50,000, well, guess what? Sometimes it makes more sense to get a personal loan because you're getting a better rate on your first mortgage, and then you just focus on paying off that second mortgage, which, well, not second mortgage, it'd be like a personal loan, right? But $75,000 might be tough for someone to do. But again, that's why on the flip side, you're going to have that additional higher interest rate, which doesn't mean you can't refinance later. You'll be able to do that, but just something to keep in mind.
I think we left off, that was Alexander Presley.
Oh yeah, we did.
And then we were at divine order. Yep, right there.
Oh, divine order. Oh yeah. See, Dwayne, you're good at this. So, what's up from Chicago? All right. Well, it's freezing outside. It's cold.
Shut down.
Yeah.
Is that Hulk out there?
No way, man. I think it's bad. This was for you.
For November, I had a claim get approved in less than 2 weeks after CMP. Had CMP in November, and the claim is stuck at step 5, not moved since November 27th. A lot of people, I did a video about the different steps. I get this question asked a lot. What is the time frame? I'm in this step. No VA employee can tell you how long you're going to be at a particular step. They don't, behind the scenes, when I rate it, it was not, oh, I did this, so move the claim to step 5. Oh, I did this, move the claim to step 6. It's like a YouTube algorithm. You do certain things, and that video may show up on more people's home screen. Okay, so what VA employees do in the back end is going to determine which step you go to. They have no control. It's no, oh, move this claim to this step, move this claim to this step. So some claims can get worked really fast. I had a friend of mine filed a claim on a Monday, had a DBQ and exit statement. It got rated on Thursday. And I was like, it's probably the end of the pay period, and somebody needed to make a quick, meet their production quota. And they was like, oh, actionable and sufficient DBQ. I don't need to request a CMP exam. I can rate this right now. Came back in a week later, filed another claim, and it took 2 months. And that's still fast. Yeah. My first claim, it took a year. I would have gladly taken 2 or 3 months, years ago when I started. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's such a like I talked to someone's like, oh, it's been 4 months stuck in that process. So one answer question here: how long after Chapter 13 being 100% plan can I use my VA loans credit scores? So it's been, if you filed a Chapter 13, a year from the time you filed your Chapter 13, you can use the VA loan. But something important to note is that you do need to get approval from the trustee, I believe, in order to purchase a property. And they're going to tell you how much you can purchase up to. So that's really the only thing you need to be on the lookout for. We've definitely helped a lot of people be in a Chapter 13 and still purchase a property. But again, 1 year from the time you start, all on-time payments, and the trustee needs to approve that as well. So,
okay.
Next one, can my VA disability and Social Security disability solely be used to acquire a new construction loan? My disability payments start this month. I'm looking to build in July. So that's a great question. Yes. So disability and Social Security income can 100% be used to qualify you for a new construction. Now, I don't know if you specifically are getting a VA construction loan, because you can get that, including land acquisition, or if you're buying a newly constructed home. There's two things I want you guys to know. Buying a new construction is buying a property that a builder has put together. It's brand new and you're buying that property, versus doing a VA construction loan where you're actually financing the entire operation, like the land acquisition, the all the framing, the stages, you're paying for all that with the bank, right? So if you're buying a newly built home, that's a straightforward process. I'm happy to help you with that. If you want a VA construction loan, just schedule a call with me and put in the description you're looking for a VA construction loan, and then I'll connect you with somebody that that specializes in that. So this gentleman said he's a total of 18 years of service. Next question we have: what happens if your DD 214 is redacted and doesn't show some service time? Dwayne, have you run into that?
No, I've never seen a redacted, other than veterans sometimes will submit it and redact their social security number, and we're like, we have it, so we see it, but I never seen anything redacted. Now, what I did see one time was lost my train of thought. A special operator. Some things that they did was redacted, but I mean, it wasn't that much. But yeah, I don't know why it would be redacted.
Yeah, I mean, you would request it from the archives to get an original copy. You should, because when you leave service,
they give you one.
They give you one, and it's not redacted. No,
right.
You're sitting down with I think the finance people. I mean, this is like a while. This is a couple of years ago, but yeah, you sit down with them. You confirm that all the information is correct. They stamp it, and then you get it, and then it's uploaded to your iPhone.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not sure, but yeah, I would definitely reach out to
your branch. You need help with,
your
branch.
Branch, and see what they can do.
Yeah. I'm NG1. NG National Guard.
I'm National Guard 1, maybe 100% PNT, 10 years. Have to 4 months or something like that. Just close on a new build from the ground, VA Smart Homes. That's awesome. So you're able to use the VA home loan and purchase a new property. So that's awesome. Let's see. So I'm reaching out, VA Housing. Let's work on getting me a home. 100% agreed. In the description, you guys will see a link to schedule a call with me. You actually talk to me. You actually get we're going to talk together to go through your situation on that. So yeah, definitely happy to help where we can.
That's in Harris County, Texas.
Harris County. You know what? A lot of veterans I've talked to recently have either been purchasing in Texas and Florida. That's like the two main places that people have called on. They're like, yes, Texas, my benefits go a long way. Florida, they're like, my benefits. Yes, majority of the business has been Texas and Florida for some reason. Obviously, we could do loans across the country. So, but it's been awesome. From the Big Island of Hawaii, that's awesome. Yeah. That's early there. That's like their lunchtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was there for like a vacation, I feel like I'm never gonna go to sleep because it's always light. Oh man. So okay, used VA backed loan, filed Chapter 7, wrote off a deficit in taxes 12 years ago. Now, what options are available, if any? So, are you saying that you still have your VA home loan? Like if you use the VA home loan, right? Just because you file a Chapter 7, doesn't mean that you would have wiped that entire debt out. So what you have to do is request your certificate of eligibility. Now, you can either schedule a call with me and I could pull it, or you go to VA.gov and then request it yourself. So I guess a side note, if you filed for disability, no, I'm sorry. Because we're always talking about disability. if you had a foreclosure, if you had a foreclosure with a VA home loan, you can still have entitlement left over, right? Because you're going to have money that's left over from there. So unless you've exhausted all of it, then it's a different story. But just check your certificate of eligibility first so you know where you're at. Can I use my VA loan if I got medically retired and 100% PNT? I don't see why not, but just remember that you have to be both eligible, meets the time of service and character of discharge, and you have to be qualified, meaning the credit collateral capacity. So being medically retired, you then have the eligibility for the VA loan. Being 100% permanent in total, you have disability income. So the other part's going to be to that is that where's your credit at? And also, what does your assets look like to cover closing costs? Now, you see a medical retirement after serving 15. What's going with legislation allowing us to receive our retirement pay? That's you, Dwayne.
That I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I will say this: to receive both, you need to be at 50%.
Doesn't it have to be like combat related?
No. No.
Okay.
No. It's I got a video.
I got a video for that.
Yeah, on the matrix, VA claim matrix, and in there it says 50%, and they talk about retirement pay. Now, unless it's something different for medical, which I hadn't seen, and really this is where the VSRs come into play, veteran service representatives, not raters. But I don't think there's any difference between just regular retirement and medical retirement as it pertains to getting receiving whatever your retirement pay is for medical or regular retirement, and VA compensation, getting the full amount for both. When you're at 50% or higher.
Well, okay. Can the VA loan be used to buy a small business startup? So not anymore. When it used to be called the GI Bill, you used to be able to get grants for that. Now you have to go to the Small Business Administration, SBA, and get like a loan to buy a business. One thing to note that most people do not know, that is if you default on an SBA loan, you also lose your VA home loan benefits because that's owing debt to the government. I want to put my home in a trust. Do I need to contact the VA to do this? I also have a video for that too.
I need to look at that because I did that and didn't contact the VA.
Yeah, I know. So listen, guys. So this is one of the cool things with what you could do with the VA loan, and like this is like I would need like another like 30 minutes to an hour to kind of go in full detail of everything that goes with it. But simply put, you can't buy a home, you can't buy a house with a VA loan and buy it in a trust. You have to buy it in your name, and then you put it in a trust. You do not call the VA. The VA has nothing to do with it. I almost feel like I'm trying to sound like Dr. Seuss because I've been reading that to my kids so much.
So is that like
I do not like it, not one bit.
a quick claim deed in the trust? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so you would have to hire an attorney, or you can go online. There's like companies that you can do it for pretty cheap. You set up the trust, and then you quick claim the property to the trust, and I'm not an attorney also, but I'm doing this myself, right? So at least I'm just talking from my experience. Then you put all the other stuff in the trust, and then basically you have that protected. But if you have a VA disability compensation, most of the time they're going to state in there that it's in a trust, and depending on how you have it structured for the beneficiary, you still keep your veteran exemption on the property. But I would talk to the assessor, and I would talk to an attorney, because it ranges anywhere from like $500 to $2,500. And putting the property in the trust is really the only way to protect your benefits, because your benefits can't be transferred to kids, but they can be transferred to a spouse if you have a service-connected disability and you pass away from it, and you're receiving indemnity compensation.
What's the other criteria? You were on a roll there. I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, he gonna pass the final exam.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes with it, but it's definitely possible. And do not contact the VA. Somebody doing the laughy emoji. That's very good.
Because Grace Smith said,
Grace, a little complicated, I know, but this is why this is why I have a link in the description that you guys can schedule a call with me, and then we can spend a one-on-one.
Yeah.
I know. Thank you. Yeah. No way the fees go up every year. Let's see. I was told today by the tax commission that I can get a homestead exemption because he's 65 and I'm 62 until I hopefully get 100%. Okay, so that's good.
It could be by state too.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely by county. So this is why when veterans are like, I could live anywhere in the country. Where should I live? I'm like, I don't know, because the benefits vary widely by county. Just like in your example, Dwayne, is that in your county, they'll back pay up to 3 years for your disability, like refund. Other counties, they won't do that. So even in the same state that has the 100% disability exemption, how they actually process it and how they look at it is going to vary.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Dwayne, can I buy a property I intend to move into if I already own a home but have never used my VA loan certificate? I think this is a question for me, Michael.
Yeah.
I got this one. But Dwayne, it would be funny if we could swap. I'll answer all the VA disability questions, just give out all the wrong information.
Nobody would have a home if I had to answer those questions.
And then everyone would be disabled.
Yeah. And Michael, thank you for that comment on YouTube a couple of days ago. I recognized the picture.
Yeah. All right. So can I buy a property I intend to move into if I already own a home but have never used my VA loan certificate of eligibility? So if you have a home but you've never lived in it and you want to purchase another property as your primary residence, you could definitely do that. That's not a problem. As long as the financial picture makes sense, then you can definitely do that. But again, it's going to depend on your individual finances and what they look like. Now, I want to buy land and build. What's the process of these two loans or combined? So pretty straightforward. If you want to use the VA loan, it's a land acquisition and a construction loan at the same time. If you want to do it separate, then you're going to get a land loan first, and then you're going to get a construction loan later. And yes, you can get a VA construction loan if you own land. I did a whole video on it. If you're looking in the future, and I'm doing this right now too. So this is like me personally doing this. I'm buying land that's not crazy expensive. I'm buying land that's affordable in areas that I like. Because at some point, I at least could build equity in them over time. And eventually, if I want to build a property at that location, I could do it because I'm already going to own the land free and clear. And guess what? I could use the equity in my property to then do the construction loan. So I don't necessarily have to use the VA loan to do that. And the reason I mention that is because some people want to build a home yourself. You can't self GC on the VA loan, but you can with other loan products as long as you have 20 to 25% equity. So it could be a good move depending on what you're trying to do. I know that was long, but there's nothing simple in life.
No.
Rico, hello. Thank you for joining us. Oh, yeah.
You know who this is, don't you?
Oh, I know who this is. Yeah, where have you been? Twisted? Where have you been?
Yeah. He still got them contractors in his house.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, he was from, just from like, he used to be on every video that we had. That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
You will only get the VA exemption on one home. Yeah, so, Willie, good point is that you get your VA disability exemption only on your primary residence. The only time that wouldn't apply, which I'm doing for someone right now, and this is the first time we've ever done this, is that we had a spouse purchase a primary residence where the husband was also a veteran that owned his own house, co-borrowed on the VA loan, but is not going to live in the new property. I've never had that, but now they can have both primary residences with having a tax exemption on each one because each house is their primary residence. It's kind of odd. I've never seen it, but it can be possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry if I confuse people out there. Schedule a call and I'll unwind it. How wild? It's wild how when the Fed cuts rates, interest rates actually go up. So Rico, just so you know, that's not really how it's done. And the reason why that exists is that what a lot of people still think is that everyone thinks of COVID. Oh, interest rate, Fed fund rates was 0. Interest rates are 2.25. Why is the Fed fund rates dropping and mortgage rates are going up? This is the reason. During COVID, the government did what's called monetary easing, and they bought all the mortgage-backed securities. Okay, so when the government is buying up all the things that normally investors would be, it frees up money. Today's world doesn't work that way. High demand for housing, limited inventory, there's no reason for them to lower interest rates. There just isn't one. If it's switched to a buyer's market, or maybe the extremely high unemployment, there wasn't much activity, then they would start lowering the rates. But those days I don't think are coming back.
Oof. So
just something to keep in mind. Eve, what's up? I work with her out in Chicago. She's amazing.
Okay.
How do VA home improvement grants work? So there's no grants. You can get a home renovation loan. If you want to get a specially adapted housing grant, you need to reach out to the VA directly. The VA does two types of loans. They do the specially adapted housing grants, or that's a grant. And then the other thing that they do is the NADL program, which is the Native American Direct Loan Program, right? So lenders don't do those, and that's only on sovereign land.
And HISA grant through the prosthetics department at the local VA medical center.
Oh, good.
For like bathroom upgrades, if you want to, stuff like that. DK, I filed a claim back for back increase and 4138 outlining ADL difficulties, but nothing being done about ANA. Told I have to have my VA doc fill out form, but doc won't do it because 30 minutes per vet visit. So yeah, you got to fill out a 2680. But I have videos on the aid in attendance, SMC, specially monthly compensation, L, which is ANA.
Awesome. Next, I'm going to start going rapid fire because we got a couple minutes left. How many months do you need to serve? 24 months on active duty or 6 years in the Guard or Reserve. But if you have activated time during your Guard service, you can qualify for the V loan. I would definitely check out my channel and watch the video on eligibility. Wish we can use it for investment property. You can buy a multifamily. There's no minimum criteria that you need to live in a property before you can rent it out, right? So as long as your financial picture makes sense, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of videos around that here coming up.
Got a headbanger. Somebody's been watching my videos. I'm tracking your way to use DBQ next statements. There you go. 38 CFR 3.326. Sent in an actionable sufficient DBQ net. Can I write it for you once? You could, I don't know what he says saying, but understand what that 38 CFR is and understand that a lot of VA employees are trying to not use the DBQ and schedule CMP exams anyway. So that 38 CFR that you list there, if you decide not to go and they deny it because you refused the exam, that's the argument of fact on a high-level review.
Awesome. No, you can't use the VA loan to purchase land on its own.
If you, VSR, plan on denying my claim, do my denial of CMP exam, will you notify me? Will you notify me your intentions? And when I go ahead and change my plan to attend the CMP exam? Oh, you totally lost me on that one. That's a curveball. If RVSR is going to deny the claim, they're not going to inform you that they're going to deny it. They're just going to deny it based on evidence, obviously. And then once you get notified in a notification letter, it'll tell you your three options: supplemental, high-level review, and BVA.
Awesome. Hi from Chicago. Good.
All right.
You know what? I got to actually go to Dwayne's house, and he actually signs every book. Like, this is legit. Like, he signs it, and I see him signing all his books and his things. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I was signing something right here.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Building
Thanks,
from ground up.
Thanks for the support.
Oh yeah, building from the ground up seems like it would cost more than one already built. Depending on where you're at, the per square footage price, that can be correct. So that's why you really need to see what that is. What's this next one?
Not sure if this question has been answered. How do you know if you're getting the correct? That's you, Dave.
If you have a 10% or greater disability rating, then you don't have to. You don't pay the VA funding fee. Remember, it's backdated. If you got a VA disability rating that was backdated to prior to you purchasing, then you can also ask for a refund of that VA funding fee. Somebody asking, looking for a new construction loan. Yeah, just hit me up and then I'll be able to connect you with that. What can I expect with closing costs? Closing costs are typically about 3% of a purchase price nationally. If you use big banks, then it's 5 to 6%, just because they charge you for all that beautiful marketing that they solicit you with. I'm asking, am I a loan officer? Yes, I do. I do VA home loan, so I'm happy to help you out. So you can do that. It's funny how their little image just shows my picture in the
I was about
background
to
there.
say, I was like,
I know it's kind of weird, but that's cool.
I was like,
I'm not really sure how that works. Quick clean nuggets, love it. Yep.
yep,
Someone saying hi from George, from GA,
Georgia.
Georgia. That's awesome. Yeah, Marie. Yeah, it's definitely freezing, man. It's definitely and then just mentioning it's a process. Wait, someone mentioning here, what's the best way to improve a home you live in and own with a VA loan? So depending, and then we'll get off like after we answer this. The best, it's really going to depend on where you live. Okay, when you look at the VA home loan, and you look VA home loan, and you look at your property, there's definitely ways you could definitely do things to your home to over improve it, where it means that if you put 200,000 into the house, but you can only get 100,000 back, does it make sense to do that? Okay. You need to either speak with somebody that knows construction value in your area. And if it's like, hey, this definitely makes sense to renovate the property or bring it up to code or put a new roof on, assess what those costs are. Homeownership is more than just owning a home and never doing anything to it. You're not a renter, right? But when you're a renter, you're paying someone else's mortgage. You have to do the regular upkeep, like cleaning all the vents, changing out filters, getting your home inspected, and then replacing the roof every 20 to 30 years, right? So kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you're going through that process. Maurice Davis, the real deal. Yes, we've definitely worked together.
And you have, I think, a couple of
Yeah, you saved my vehicle.
donations.
Yep. Yeah, I've worked with Eve on this, so there's definitely been a lot of times where we've saved a lot of people money to be able to get into homeownership. So if you're 40% disabled, it really depends on what what that area has. Like in Illinois, it saves you, I think, $2,500 off the assessed value. So it may change your property taxes, maybe $100, but everywhere it's different. Like you really need to know reach out to the county assessor. Just type in, like, if you're looking in Cook County, Illinois, type in Cook County, Illinois, tax assessor's office. Call them. Call your local tax assessor office. But that's pretty much it for tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Dwayne, closing, not argument, but closing thoughts.
You have a J Mike donated $4.99. I don't know if we
Oh,
covered
did he?
it.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Under start, thanks for your knowledge. And I think we got Michael Jefferson. No, yep. We want to recognize him. And I think the one above that, I think we got Michael Jefferson already.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay. Yeah. Those are the two. Yeah. So yeah, just thanks everyone for joining in. As it pertains to the VA compensation claims process, do not give up. Continue to get educated. Pick up the book. Okay. Watch the free videos. I watch videos of Dave's when I have VA home loan questions. You got to get educated. Don't give up, and just do your due diligence. And thank you for joining in again. And again, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. See you very soon.